Wow, alright. So it's been about 50 minutes on the rise, and notice that the lump of dough has gotten a lot bigger. I've also started cleaning up my stuff. I'd recommend that during the rise, just getting everything in order, cleaning up, getting everything put away. So now, so also when I put the cellophane on, I wanted to make sure that the cellophane covered over the dough, because what happens when it rises, you don't want there to be too much like air gaps around. So you want the cellophane to cover way over, because you will anticipate it to rise. So now I'm going to take the cellophane off. I'm just going to kind of punch it down. Just punch it down around and kind of maybe knead it just a little bit and let it rise again. So the recipe says, so here, let me let you look at the recipe here, see if you can read this. So right now we're down here, the 1.5 hour first rise. I just did that for 50 minutes, and then so now punch it down, and then according to the recipe, I'm going to do an hour on the second rise, and then move it to the cookie sheet. So kind of make little loaves on the cookie sheet, and then let it rise again for an hour, and then bake between 385 and 400 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. So I'm cutting this a little bit short. I'm going to do like 50 minutes, which is okay because it already is rose pretty well. So I'm going to punch it down right now, and then it's getting late, so I might just do a little second rise until I can see it rising again, and then move it to the cookie sheet, let it rise a little bit more, maybe another 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to bake it. Alright, so I went ahead and punched down the dough, and it shrunk. Basically what it does is it squeezes all the air pockets that those yeast create. The yeast create the CO2 gas is what gives it its rising ability. So I punched it down, which got rid of a lot of those CO2 pockets, and so then I put cellophane back on it, let it rise again, and it's only been 12 minutes on this rise, so it looks like we're doing the abbreviated recipe, which is good. So it has risen, so it's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to piece it out. Traditionally, this is actually my grandma's recipe. She brought it over from Sicily, when she came over like in 1926 or so. So traditionally you would grab handfuls of this dough, just kind of big handfuls, and then kind of form it into a roll, kind of a bun kind of thing, and then place it on a cookie sheet. And so you'll just place those all like that. So I think I'm going to do it that traditional way. You can also use like an actual bread pan and make like a loaves out of it. So I'm going to just piece this out, put it on a cookie sheet, let it rise again. Alright, so I parceled out all the bread dough, made those handful size lumps. Basically that's what it'll look like. And then I put some in the actual bread pan, so it'll rise quite a bit, so I gave it a lot of room. And for the rest, I just wrapped it in cellophane, and I'm going to put it into this freezer bag, and basically you can freeze it. I'll just throw that in that freezer bag and put it in the freezer, and then like next week or something I'll pull one of these out of the freezer bag, let it sit on the countertop at room temperature overnight, and it's going to do all its rising then, because it takes a long time to warm up, so it's good to do that overnight, or at least have at least a few hours to thaw it and then let it rise, and then just put that on the baking pan like that, or however you want to do it, and bake it. So that's it.